What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to YGOPD, your Yu-Gi-Oh! Professional Development, and today I am doing an update on a deck I've not visited in at least a few months. This is Adventure Scareclaw with a little bit of different spice thrown in. I really wanted to showcase this deck, but held off at the initial release of Cash and the ban list, just because of the constant banishing and fear behind that, but that seems to have died down a little bit, and you can kind of tailor decks now still in rogue status or different ways to get around that, and this has some spice that really needed to use the graveyard, but nonetheless, I don't see many people talking about this variant, so I wanted to shed some light on it and just kind of do this as a bit of a proof of concept. Of course, before we hop into it, I want to shout out our new public subs to the channel. Mehoy, Cole, Dimitri, and Sean, thank you all so much for joining. We are right on the cusp of 900, and then right there heading straight towards 1,000. I can't thank you all enough for doing this. If you really like what I do, please consider subscribing. That really does help the channel, helps me get to 1K, as well as liking and commenting and just viewing the video all help push that stuff through the algorithm. So with all that said, we'll go ahead and hop right into the main deck. Okay, starting off with the main deck, and then we'll follow it up with a quick test hand just so you get an idea of how the deck functions. Starting off with the monsters, and more specifically the Scareclaw package, we have triple Rykart. I know some people are on 2 of every name, 3 of every name, just depending on your blends and your ratios. This one is one I really do like at 3. It's ultimately the best name. It really just does so much. It searches for you. It can potentially draw. You can still normal it, make your link 1, search another one, and then special it. So 3 is probably definitely the right thing for that guy in my opinion. And then double acro, really like on pretty much 2 of every other name. Pretty straightforward here. Double acro, double astra, and double balone or baloney, however you want to say it. This is pretty straightforward. And then I am just on 1 of the Scareclaw Kashtira. Again, this is more just pure adventure Scareclaw and not a pure blend on Cash. So really only 1 as the extender is fine for now. And then the thing that might be a little controversial, but I really do like it, is triple Visa Starfrost. In a lot of ways, if you have a body on board that you can use to trigger this, it is a starter since you can link it into your link 1, search the field spell, and then get any of your other Scareclaw names and keep playing, which is important. We also play the adventure package, so this paired with the token is a way to Baron. Overall, it's just an amazing extender. I really do like it a lot, and it's just a body that helps you link, climb, and extend by getting other pieces. So pretty straightforward there. And then after that, we do play 2 of the field spell. I don't think you'll ever want more than 2. 2 is the perfect number just because, again, you can do Lightheart Search multiple times in a turn. And then 1 Scareclaw Arrival. In reality, I would probably bump this up to 2 after more testing since it's in a non-once per turn. You can do as many as you have. But it's a really, really good extender. Just a monster reborn for Scareclaws. Really, really solid. And then, of course, the obligatory Splash and Twin Saw. This is a tailored build to go first. More specifically, you can tech out the side for going second. If you don't like the adventure package, you could cut that and cut down on some of the Visa Starfrost for more hand traps, however you want to do it. But these are both fine. So that's it for the Scareclaw piece. We'll go ahead and talk about the adventure piece. There's not much to say. It's very straightforward here. Triple Enchantress. This is obviously the 1 card starter that helps you get to an Omni Negate through your main plays. Not much to be said there. Again, just puts extra bodies on board if you end up needing to use it as a link material, as well as, again, like I mentioned before, the token letting you get to Baron. Same thing with Right. Just getting another body on board is important. And then after that, just the 1 Fateful, the 1 Draco back, the 1 Foolish Burial, the standard 3, and of course the 1 Griffin. Not really much there to be said about that. Then the last card I'll just throw into the mix, just because it's a flex spot, is Called by the Grave. Still helps with insulating your board and making your plays go through. From here, this is where the last 10-ish cards of the deck rounds out at 40, gets a little bit different and hopefully a little bit spicy and different for people who have not utilized this. I'm on a Danger package as well as a Phantom Knight package. I really like this ability to kind of utilize these as extra bodies, both for the Dark ability and the second ability to help turbo out level 3s to get to Cherubini, which can get both your Phantom Knight or your adventure stuff online depending. So we're on 3 Nessie and then 1 Tsuchinoko and 1 Jackalope. Pretty straightforward, a very small package, but really does a lot in the long run. And then for the Phantom Knights, we're on 1 of the Cloak and 2 of the Boots. 3 names has seemed to work out pretty well, and obviously these are all 3 names that search, which are really, really powerful. In line with that, we also play 1 of the Shade Brigadine and then 2 of the Fog Blade. This has been by far like just my favorite package of the deck. Even if you don't like the dangers, it does help facilitate discarding stuff like Enchantress and the Phantom Knights and all that good stuff, but this has been amazing to use this as just an extender piece if your board kind of gets stopped like in a weird position to either go into something like Baguska or Redoer, or even have the level 4 to then synchro into make Baron is just really powerful. Even if you get hand trapped to death, still being able to end on something like double Fogblade plus an Xyz after they've burned potentially 2 or 3 hand traps can still just be more than enough. So that's the main deck, pretty straightforward there. I'll showcase the extra deck and then do a quick test hand so you get the idea of how the deck functions. Okay, for the extra deck, we'll start with the big boys and work our way down. Starting off 1 Underworld Goddess and 1 Axis Code. These are just the standard removal tools. Depending on your preference with cash, you could obviously run multiples of these, or do 2 and 2. Again, ratios of your extra deck are your preference depending on your fear level of cash and how much cash you're dealing with. I'm just kind of showcasing a bare bones skeleton and a majority of the options that I like running at the given time. Of course, obligatory try heart basically. 2 is minimum. 3 is probably preferred in any Scareclaw build, but if you're running other packages like me and you're trying to squish things down, 2 is doable. So after that, 1 Unicorn, pretty straightforward there, and 1 Rusty for the Phantom Knight line. After that, for the 2s, we are on 1 IP and 1 Cherubini, pretty straightforward there. And then we are on 2 Lightheart. Again, depending on your preferences, and if you're not squishing a bunch of stuff in at once like I am, you could bump this up to 3 as well as the Tri-Heart. And then for the 1s, 1 Link Spider just helps climb in awkward situations where you need to turn that token into a Link Spider, and 1 Almirage. More so in here for the Phantom Knight package if you really need to get a name engraved to search something like Shade Brigandine to then get Redoer to kind of help your plays. It's just kind of niche and has come up enough that I've decided I need to keep 1 in there. And if you want to take the Ibly line on the side, that's obviously something you could do then with that. And then for the rank 4s, 1 Redoer and 1 Baguska. I'm not really focusing on Zeus in this build. I'm more focusing on these specifically. But if you want to play a Zeus, I would recommend just cutting the Baguska and putting a Zeus in place of that. But I like the difference utility in these 2. And then lastly, of course, is just the obligatory Baron. So that's it for the extra deck. I'll go ahead and take us over and do a quick test hand. All right, giving this guy a good shuffle from our deck being in order from the deck profile, and we'll go ahead and do a good shuffle, a quick cut, and see what we're working with for our test hand to give you a good idea of how this deck functions. Throw out a cut. Enchantress, Reichardt, Shade Brigandine, Fateful Adventure, and a second Reichardt. This is actually perfectly fine, and again, overlaps with why I like having multiples of the name in this instance. So we'll go ahead, activate the Fateful Adventure, banish the Enchantress, use the Enchantress effect. We'll go ahead and search a copy of Right. We'll go ahead, use the Right to get a token to our side of the field. We'll just go ahead and use this in this instance just because I don't have any tokens lying around on me. And then what we'll go ahead and do is trigger the Fateful Adventure to get a copy of our Draco back to our hand. And then we'll go ahead and trigger the Fateful again to then add the Griffin. And we will discard the Draco back, equip there. Special the Griffin, and then we can go ahead and normal the Reichardt, link that away. We'll go ahead and tidy up zones just a little bit there. Make sure that's clear, and we'll go ahead and make our Lightheart and then use Lightheart's effect to search a copy of the field spell. And then we'll go ahead, activate the copy of the field spell. I'm not sure what I want here. I think I'll just grab any general extender. I don't think we need Scareclaw cash for any reason in this case. So we'll go ahead and grab Acro. And then what we can do is, I'm just thinking how we want to do this. We will go ahead, special summon the Reichardt and use its effect. We'll go ahead and add and then draw. So we'll go ahead and add a copy of, I think we want to do Arrival here because I kind of want to just showcase the Phantom Knight line a little bit. So we'll do that. Give this a cut. Then we'll draw our extra card since we have 3 defense position monsters. We hit a Nessie, which is actually really, really good. So from here, there's still a lot of options to do. What I'm thinking we can go ahead and do is Rusty requires all darks. So we need a way to get another dark on board. So I'm just thinking what the best route might be for doing something like that. And if we really need to extend that far, I think what I'm actually going to go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and just use the, we'll just set 2, and then we'll try to go for the Nessie here. We'll go ahead and do that. So we'll say 1 to 3 here and 4 to 6 there. 4 to 6, we do hit the Nessie. That's a little bit unfortunate, but it's fine. It's going to eventually get us what we need. So then what we'll go ahead and do is get the Jackalope. And in reality, if you want to make this a little bit quicker, you could play a Dark Charmer in the extra deck to kind of make this Acro turn into a Dark, so to speak, and go straight up into it. But then we'll go ahead and do the same thing for Jackalope, 1 to 3, 4 to 6. We hit a 1 to 3, so we'll hit that Acro, that'll go. Jack specials, and then we get to draw another card, so we hit another Enchantress. That's just technically an extender, which is perfectly fine. And so now what we can go ahead and do is we're keeping the Arrival, so we'll go ahead and link these 3 off and make a copy of Rusty. Go ahead and throw Rusty on the board, and then we'll use Rusty's effect. Reminder, these 2 are set, just having them ups for the purposes of the combo. We'll use Rusty's effect to dump the Silent Boots to then add a copy of Fog Blade. So we'll go ahead and get a Fog Blade set to our board. And then from here, what we can go ahead and do is we'll go ahead and activate the Shade Brigadine. And then we can go ahead and use the Arrival to bring back a Reichheart. And then we can go ahead and overlay those 2 for a copy of our Time Thief Redoer. So go ahead and throw that there. And then we can go ahead and banish a copy of our Silent Boots to go ahead and get a second copy of our Fog Blade. Of course, you can do plenty of other stuff, but again, this is a decent line that I think helps showcase how the Phantom Knights and all this play together and the different types of interruptions you have. Because even if you're hit with Imperm Nib, worst comes to worst, being able to chain this to get it off the board is important, and it'll still come back, so you have a body with some follow-up. And then you still, even if all that fails, you have double Fog Blade that you can work with, which is still really important and can eventually get you there when almost every monster in your deck for the Scareclaw side of things are 1-card starters. And that is it for the main deck, the extra deck, and the quick little combo tutorial. I hope this sparks some interest in you to show something different with Scareclaw. I think Scareclaw is just the deck that will always have the most flexibility and ability to just try different things of how it fits together. It's such a unique deck, and I think just has so many unlimited variants. Really, really cool. Always love when I can showcase that. But with all that said, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Later.